Okay, mute. All right. Snappack, how are you doing? On location, Miami, in the beautiful state of Florida, which my man Lance also happens to be a resident of. So what perfect guest to have than Mr. Lance. So welcome to Snappack Live episode 2. I am your host, Jason Frazier, the real estate CIO. And I am happy to have Lance on the show with me today because he actually did a live in his Facebook group with some awesome content that I thought, well, one is it would be helpful for me since I'm kind of a shoot by the hip sort of guy, but for someone that wants to plan their content out and if they want to get more on planning multiple content streams for different channels like Periscope and Facebook Live and Snapchat, I think Lance has a great system, and he went through it piece by piece, and I think it was a lot of great content. I actually met Lance because I was a guest speaker on his Facebook group, which is Real Estate Live Now, which is another awesome real estate group that I would recommend that you guys be a part of as well. And anyway, so Lance, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi. Well, thanks. First of all, thanks, Jason, for inviting me, and thanks for liking my little live stream there the other day on that. I appreciate that. I'm a real estate agent in the Orlando area, specifically in the vacation home properties. So I like to tag myself as your Disney area property specialist. It's an international community. A lot of our owners don't live here because they're vacation homes, but they're also overseas. Brazil, China, a lot of Canadians, mostly, the largest group are Canadians, UK. And so, I've gravitated towards Facebook specifically and live streaming as a way to get at a larger audience than, say, a traditional real estate agent who's only working. The buyers and sellers are geographically located in the same spot, and our buyers are out there too. So that's where I am. I'm a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel. Been in real estate about 5 years. Had a intelligence and communications technology background. So I love strategic planning and information technology tools. The Air Force, we love our systems and our tools. So that brings me here to this, and kicking and screaming into live streaming about a year ago. I remember Tom Ferry said, "Oh, you guys got to start doing Periscope." And I got on Periscope, and there's a bunch of teenagers doing wacky stuff, so I erased it from my phone. I didn't have a lot of space on my phone for apps. I thought it was silly. And then a guy drugged me into it with the Para-Newbies group. Got me live streaming, said I needed to do it, and I recognized really quick that not a lot of real estate agents are willing to do this. So there's a huge opportunity in live streaming, whether on any of the platforms so far. So that's me right now. So.
All right. So the way that this came about was that, as I mentioned before, I saw your live stream on, strategically planning out your content, which, again, for someone that's basically, totally all over the place, it would definitely help. And I like the software that you use for it. So let's talk about, one, how you got to the point where you thought you needed to do that, and then how you go about it and the software you use. But I'll just kind of let you talk about how you plan it out and how you do your content and everything else.
Yep. Well, I started a little book club on Periscope called bookstream.tv. We read awesome books together, and then we Periscope about them daily during the week. The idea was several of us thought we needed to do more reading. We're not reading so much. Well, why not? And we need content to talk about that's not real estate related. And so we have this little book club. And pretty soon, I'm doing all these different titles, and then I'm trying to do real estate Periscopes, and then, Snapchat's starting to pick up, and Facebook Live. And I hate trying to type titles and stuff on the phone.
Yep.
And so I was using other notepads and stuff, type it on my computer and drag it over. And then I realized I could be using a project management tool like Trello, and I could be planning out these different contents for different, titles and the descriptions. And so I fired up Trello.com. It's free. It's web-based, but it also has an app on the phone and on your different tablets that works beautiful. And so, I can come up with a week's worth of Periscope titles. And that's exactly how I do it. I just have a column for Periscope, a column for Snapchat, a column for Instagram, a column for Facebook Live. I can come up with titles and even put, 2 or 3 bullet points in the note section of each task. And then I can bring it up on my phone. I can show you right here how cool it works. And Trello owns one of the bottom spaces on my iPhone. So that tells you how important it is to me. I mean, serious, if you get that space, you're top, so I hit Trello right there and it'll come up. This is backwards, but you see that green one there, live streaming content. That's a board. And the board opens right up, and there's all the Periscope titles I have left to do this week. Each one of them is a task. And this one is today. I've yet to do it. And then you can see notes below that I typed in. So I've already read, and I'm going to be doing this little Periscope. As you move across, there's my Instagram list. And what's really cool is you can upload the images that you're going to then upload to Instagram on your computer. Nice. You just save that image to your phone and then bring it up on Instagram. And then I have all of the hashtags all ready to go in the Instagram. There's our Snappack Live interview on Facebook Live, because it's a Facebook Live thing. And then Snapchat, which I'm just getting into Snapchat, warming up to it, embracing it, seeing it, how it fits in. So I'm trying to go ahead.
Sorry, let me ask you a question. So one is I want to say welcome to everyone that joined: Sonia, Michelle, Rick, Dustin, Sheila, Annette, and some others that haven't popped up yet. But how long does it take you? And I don't know if you're going to, I don't want to jump ahead of what you're talking about, but when you do your, now do you do your calendar on a weekly in Trello for your live stream?
Pretty much. And I'm doing it all the time. As ideas come together, I drop them into those different lists. So it's a catch. Think of it like a Kanban, the Kanban doing, done. Because I also have, and this is my favorite part of the system, I have a done section where I drag that task over and drop it there. So I have a record of everything I've ever live streamed.
That's helpful.
And you could even pull the link to that live stream and put it into that task, and then it's there for you to go back out and find it. If it's
cool.
saved. So, and I've done that.
And then so I was gonna ask about planning your weekly content, but that so you answered that as far as that you pop up, when ideas come into you, which is a good idea, because a lot of times I'm thinking of something and then I forget about it because I get an email or some other stuff and I whatever, because I don't have a system where I'm putting all that stuff. So
use Trello as a note taker.
Okay.
On your phone. And I found myself driving and voicing the note into it.
Yeah.
It worked.
Okay. Okay. All right. Go ahead. Sorry.
So yeah, I'm my thought, a strategic approach to live streaming is that it's different than lead generation, where you're kind of like fishing with bait on a hook, and you get a lead. It's more like chumming, where we want to create an environment around us in our geography area where all of the right fish come to, and then we can.
Yeah. And
so that's why I'm looking at it from I hope the fishing analogy doesn't bother anybody, but I am in, the South here, where they chum out in the ocean to attract the fish and then fish for them.
Yeah.
So, but the marketing and multi-channel marketing approach, and how do you plan it, and then control it or manage it as you go across to make sure you're getting all the things done that you want to get done. A perfect example I keep thinking about is the open house on Saturday and all the marketing you want to do on different channels leading up to the actual open house, where you will do the big Facebook Live or whatever and have the open house. Well, you could have Instagram pieces and a blog post. You could do all of that out in a system like this. And then if you give it a date and time due in Trello, that syncs to your calendar and it shows up on your Google Calendar.
Does it sync with other calendars other than your Google Calendar?
I haven't had a need to try to use something else. I dropped Microsoft and everything else when I left the Air Force, and I am all in Google and don't plan on going anywhere else. So
yeah, I am for my personal. I just didn't, other people. Now, well, what about the app on your phone? Does it sync from the app to your calendar on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Well, that fixes that, honestly, because if anyone has Exchange or Outlook or whatever on their desktop, but they use their iPhone to connect with their Exchange server, as long as it connects with that calendar, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and everybody has a different system that they would have to try to get them to weave together. I mean, I've figured that stuff out in the past, but for me now, since I'm all in Google Apps, it's just everywhere. Everything I do is everywhere.
Now, did you use Trello prior to doing your live content planning on there, or did you just say, I need a project management software? I use Basecamp personally, which would probably work for this, but I like the Trello. I like on the browser, I like the kind of the steps, the columns for that. And I like the app, and I actually downloaded it after I saw your live because I was going to play around with it some more. Now, did you use Trello prior, or did you think I need a project management software and then you went and found Trello?
I've used several project management tools in the past. Microsoft Project. I managed some multi-million-dollar fiber optic installations on Air Force bases, where you've got to do the whole, you're an IT guy, so you understand what I'm saying. Yeah. You got to have your critical path going down through all the tasks, and you got everything from bulldozers tomorrow and running fiber, hook it up, do the networking gear. And so I was very familiar with project management principles and tools. And then I saw a couple of spots with some realtor trainers. One is Katerina Gassett, and she's down in West Palm Beach, I believe, and she uses Trello to run her whole real estate practice. Mm-hmm. And she did a YouTube video on it. I saw that. I said, that's pretty cool. And I was playing around with it for that. And then I've always had this idea that one day I would write the great American novel. And I saw somebody outlined and was putting together their novel, plotting. I'm a planner, Yeah. And they were using Trello. And so when I said, how do I handle this live streaming thing? Because I've never had so much content that I wanted to try to produce until I got into live streaming. It's one thing, a blog post a day, a Twitter thing, Now we've got Snap, and I just said, bing, I should just try it in Trello. It worked like a charm.
Nice. So I got a question from Sheila Davis. She asked, is there a reason you don't use Google Keep, or have you used Google Keep?
I use Google Keep all the time. In fact, my first set of notes for talking with you, because I like to think through kind of what the potential questions would be. I took 5 minutes and I did a big Google Keep note, and then I cut and paste that into Trello.
Okay. Nice.
I mean,
yeah.
Bookstream.tv. I come up with the titles for a whole book for a whole month. I sit down in 20 or 30 minutes, come up with all the titles. And I do that in Google Keep. And then I take each title and I cut and paste it into a specific task in Trello. And then I'm able to manage the whole, our 5 or 6 scopers, periscopers and with Bookstream. So if you were team periscoping or team live streaming, say you were a real estate team, think how you could coordinate a team to support each other. If you're all working on the same real estate team, and one of them like Snapchat, you know what I'm saying? You could own and dominate a market if you're a real estate team, if you had a little bit of coordination on the tool like this, because you can have other people can get a different account with Trello, and you can share these boards and stuff with each other, these tasks, and assign them out. Probably like
can you do that? Can you do that with Google Keep?
Google Keep, you can share each note with other people really easy, and I do that all the time. Yeah,
but you would prefer Trello?
I use them both. Google Keep's kind of like one thing, but there's no way to organize it like Trello, and it's just kind of a different medium. It's like trying to do a 15-minute Periscope on Snapchat. It's kind of it's a different tool.
Yeah.
And you see some people try to do that. Some of us come from it's like snap, 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 snap. And pretty soon there's 15 snaps in a row, and you gotta every snap better be good, or someone's gonna leave, right?
That's definitely the case. So you were doing your live streaming prior to Trello. How much time does Trello save you, you think?
Amazing amounts of time. If you're sitting there in your truck or your car and you need to do a live stream, but then you got to type out the title and all that, and now how much faster can I do it when I can put my hands on the home keys on a computer and put together a whole set of titles? For example, I did a series on Instagram stories, I guess it's called. I was just testing out on agency one day, a thing on this aspect of agency. And I could sit down and just map out 7 different things to do 7 different days really fast. If I had to do it here, one at a time, it would have taken me much more time out in the field to do the setup. Waste a lot of time in setup and hitting the broadcast button.
Gotcha. So real quick, I just want to thank everyone that has joined us so far. And another question is, do you feel that doing the content planning, do you feel that hinders you at all for being spontaneous for the content when it pops in your head? Or does that really even matter, since you're doing planned live streams on Facebook Live? And I guess that would matter maybe for Snapchat, but since you're doing planned streams on Periscope and Facebook Live, maybe that's not so much of an issue.
That's an excellent question, and I think it goes to, are you a seat of the pantser or are you a planner? And in the end, we need to be both. Right? That's what you want to have, is you want to have a little more strategy to what you're doing. But, so as I become more comfortable, me being, an analytical with a little D, not big time I, up there, not on the disc profile. I become more and more comfortable with the medium over the year, 18 months now, that I'm more comfortable with doing the flash, just, take it out and do it. So I think in the end, we would all want to be a mix of that. We have the ability to do the spontaneous stuff and catch what's going on right now. And then we also want the more strategic, thought out, how does it fit into an overall marketing campaign stuff. So, if you have a list of spontaneous snaps or periscopes that you want to do when the opportunity arises in your day, you could have the titles all ready to go. And you're just waiting for that. Oh, I've got a title agent with me. I always wanted to talk to a title agent about this. Let's do it. A little bit more deliberate.
For those of you that don't know, you were talking about the DISC test, right?
The DISC profile system.
The DISC profile. So we actually talked about that with Shannon at the because she's talking about that, and I don't think I took one. I can't remember what I haven't done in a while. I think I'll put the link though in this live stream, so people could actually go and take that to see what they are. Maybe we'll do kind of everyone post what your disc score is to see what everyone is in the group.
I mean, it plays into how you would interact with somebody.
Yeah.
And so it's going to play into how you come across to people too. So the disc system is important. It takes a little bit of study to get it down, but then it becomes automatic.
So I know you're a big Periscope guy, and I do see you on Facebook Live. What channel do you prefer the most, and why?
Well, I like Periscope because of the interaction, and I'm comfortable with that kind of an interaction and how it goes. Facebook Live is growing on me. I'm not a fan of doing Facebook Live to your personal profile. I think that breaks, when you're doing a lot of real estate, that breaks the terms of service with Facebook. And at some point, somebody's going to turn you in, and you might lose your whole account if you're doing business on your personal account. So Facebook Live to a business page is going to depend on how big of an audience you have on that business page.
Yeah.
If you don't have a big audience on your business page, you're going to be pushed towards doing it on your personal profile.
Yeah.
And so right now I see Facebook Live as talking to an audience that's already warmed up to you for the most part. Whereas Periscope, you can get out to a cold audience faster and easier. That's not always the case. I mean, it's not that cut and dry, but that's how I see it.
Yeah.
And, right now. And it's changing, it's evolving. So I like Periscope because I've gotten comfortable with the interaction. I see that interaction on Facebook Live to a certain point. So I see Facebook Live as either this kind of an interview, which you need another tool to do it. You can't just do it in Facebook Live yet. And it's also a good place to do the 3 to 5 minute solid thing that you have thought out, and then it's on Facebook and you can keep sharing it, and it's, tied to your Facebook page, and the gift that keeps on giving, you could run ads to it.
Yeah.
So I'm heading in that direction.
Gotcha. And how long have you been streaming on Periscope? Because I know
last August, a year, August, I came in.
Oh, okay.
Kicking and screaming. So well over a year now.
Gotcha. And how has that helped with your business?
I've scared off a lot of agents around my office who don't want to do video, and now they're scared of me. Is that good?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm getting known around the area. I'll be teaching a live class in classroom class next week here in the local area, tied to a tax company and a title company. But I'm making referral partners around the United States who have, and we're seeing referrals. I've gotten referrals come in. And so when you're in out of the Disney area property market where let's say someone in Chicago, especially when there's snow on the ground, probably has people in their database that are thinking about buying in Florida and could make a referral down here. So I see it as an opportunity, business to business. A lot of live streaming is business to business. We're connecting and creating potential referral relationships.
Yeah.
I'm working in that same direction to try to connect with local vendors in that same way and create a referral network locally. It's just hard to find people that will do this. How many mortgage brokers do I have to talk to find one that will actually live stream?
Quite a few.
I mean, does anybody have any anecdotal idea? Is it 150?
Yeah. So I know I can only speak to I know for all the mortgage people that I follow, very few, like maybe less, maybe like a handful do it. I know on my own company, we'll have some people do it every now and then. I know after we had a sales conference and we had a couple of speakers, one of them being Katie Lance, and she talked about live streaming and other social media. And so we had some people actually go for that first week. Everyone's like, okay, I'll do Facebook Live. And they were, talking and nothing business related really, but more of just, introducing themselves, talking about where they were going, a little bit about their town. But then it kind of cooled off, and no matter how much I, kick and scream, it's not happening. But then I see that industry, and that's what I try to tell them. Like, looking at the industry wide, there's very few people that do it. The mortgage people that I do see live streaming are ones that are producing. So it's not like the people that have time on their hands or, what are we doing now? But kind of like what prior to us going live here, Lance and I were talking a little bit, and it's about having that mindset of a difference between lead generation and marketing, right, Lance? I think we were talking about, yeah. So I think the live streamers on the mortgage side that I see, they're top producers and they're doing it, but they're buying into that whole Gary Vee, mentality of being a digital mayor of your town, of being a media company first, getting your name out, because not a lot of people are doing it. And if not a lot of people are doing it on something that's very popular, that has a lot of attention, that has a lot of eyeballs, why would you not? I mean, why would you not do that? So,
because you're
and I think that's
the death of the little red button. They're the same ones. I was watching the other thing. They're the same ones when you go into their Facebook profile, there's no phone number, there's no email address, and you can't tell whether they're a real estate agent or not. They're the same ones that are not doing it.
Yeah. So, and it's a perfect example of one is if you're afraid, and this is the beauty of this group here, and the beauty of having people like Lance on, and the beauty of his Facebook group and meeting all these people, is that
it's actually Sonia's Facebook group. I just helped.
Oh, okay. So sorry,
Sonia's Facebook group. But it's
Lance was saying
group.
It was his. Before we went online, Lance was like, it was my group. Sonia had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, right.
I don't even know how she came a part of it. No, Sonia. He said nothing but awesome things about you.
She's the queen of live streaming, and that's her group. And
yeah, and so that's so yeah, and actually Sonia's a perfect example of that. And Lance was even saying that before we went live. And again, this is me not joking, but he literally said trying to find the person that does all those channels of live streaming well. Sonia is the perfect example of that, because she does. I don't see her repeating her stuff from Snapchat to Periscope to Facebook Live.
But they all work together.
Exactly. They all work together, and Lance is 100% on that. So it's just a perfect example of that. But getting back to what I was saying about the group is that you have all these different people that are, one is you had Sue actually talking about how do you get over your fear of being on the camera, right? And then you have people that are actually getting over that fear and then doing it. And then what tactics are they using to do the live streaming? And then you have Lance that is doing all that. Then he's also got the planning piece of it, so you could plan the live content. So every single person has something that they're experiencing or has an expertise on. And this is the difference between, that's why I love the group, between experience and expertise. And so, and that's why, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but when I was watching Lance's live stream about using Trello, and he was taking it through step by step, and I'll have Lance share the link to that in the comments section of this live stream, so you guys could watch it, so you could see how easily it flows. But honestly, like I've used Trello before, but it would never even dawned on me to do that. And not only just the planning piece of it, that honestly, that wasn't what I was most impressed with. It was like, oh, geez, I could put the images in there. I could put the hashtags. Because I'm the same way. I hate doing all of that. I hate typing it in and then screwing it up, and then, you're spelling it wrong. And then, so it's so easier to, it's so much
spelled wrong does you no good,
Yeah. So it's just perfect. So, we got the content management, the live streaming. For agents, because we have a lot of agents that are just getting their license, or they got their license, or they're new to the business and they want to start live streaming. I don't know if you want to give 10, 5, but what is your best advice to those agents that are starting to live stream and they want to be good at it?
Join realestatelivenow.com, join Snappack, and then do a lot of R&D. And that's Tom Ferry's R&D. Rip off and duplicate. Watch what other people are doing and do it in your market. Just have you heard of the principles of influence by that psychologist Cialdini? The 6 principles of influence.
No.
The first one is called, I think it's the first one. It's reciprocity. It's amazing what happens when you go into somebody else's Periscope and you heart them up. They follow you back, and then they come into your Periscopes. When you start going into people's Snapchats and paying attention to them, they will pay attention back to you. All of a sudden, when I started to do that, I realized, oh, social media can be social. It can be, you can influence. Yeah. Before, social media was a place where I would run ads and get leads. That's what Facebook was. It wasn't social at all. Yeah. Now it's becoming social in these groups. And so the new agent, join the groups and try to be like Sonia and try to be like you, and get out there. The second thing is measure. If you're going to do Periscope, before you do that first Periscope, write down how many followers you have in Twitter and Periscope, and then Periscope for 30 days straight, one Periscope a day, and watch your followers and everything grow. And all of a sudden you go, wow, there might be something to this, measure what you're doing and track the engagements. And then that also then teaches you what works. Always test and always learn to have it come back at you.
That is a major key right there. Just doing the testing, watching. I know that's honestly how a big part of my Snapchat following was, just finding people to engage with, to comment on, and then getting them to engage back with me. And that's just how you do it. You got to get out there. You can't be a fly on the wall. You actually got to go in there and get your hands dirty and do it. And in the end, it doesn't matter, because you're going to learn. Mm-hmm. You're going to learn. And then I got one final question for you here, Lance, and that is, in your real estate career, you've been doing it for 5 years now. Mm-hmm. What is the single best marketing piece campaign that you've ever done?
It's foreclosures. But that was just cold lead generation.
How did you do that?
I just run, an ad to get a free foreclosure list on Facebook. It's built up. I do it in a way that it builds up the likes on my Facebook page. I can now drop a property, from IDX from my website, like foreclosure of the day.
Yep.
I don't even have to be consistent. I can drop it on there and get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of views, because everybody on my Facebook page was brought in because they were interested in real estate. When I started my Facebook page, I didn't go out and ask all my friends, to join it. I built it up I've been building it. I didn't run a contest for an iPad to try to sell real estate, and then wonder why nobody's interested in my Facebook page.
They're interested in the iPad.
Yeah, exactly. And so, no, to this day, from that kind of marketing and lead generation, anything that's considered a deal is what's going to get people to react to it, because I don't see Facebook as a place for real estate. Mm-hmm. So when we're putting something in front of people about real estate, we're interrupting. They're there for a social intent, not a commercial intent. Mm-hmm. I get annoyed when I look at something on Amazon and then I find I'm being advertised on Facebook about it. Yeah. I'm not on Facebook for commercial. Well, I am, because I'm a realtor. Yeah. But so if it's a deal and it's interesting, brings them over, and then I'm able to work with them. Now, live streaming, I really, it's interesting. We had Neil Mathweg on our Real Estate Live Now deal the other night, and he said, don't be doing anything real estate wise. Do it all about your town and all about this. Yeah. But then some of my best stuff is my market analysis that gets the most attention. So I don't know for sure.
Yeah, well, it's always be testing. It's exactly, always be testing. Always ABT, right? So
maybe my audience appreciates the fact that I understand the numbers. I don't know. And
well, it's true. It's the audience, right? It's your market. It's your audience. It's what it matters. Because and I said that last night, is like, I could say a bunch of stuff. Neil can, anyone can say what they think or feel, and it may work to a certain extent, but you got to take that, whatever that one person's saying, whether it's the Ferry brothers, it's the Vaynerchuks, it's the Simon Sinek, anyone of the world, any books that you're reading, whatever, and then take those tactics, take that flow, and make that work for you, because every audience is different. Even in the same town, someone's watching you for a reason. Someone's interacting and engaging with you for a reason.
Yep.
So before we wrap up here, Lance, again, I want to thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me and doing this. I thought it, especially because live streaming is so popular now, I think it's for people that want to get into it. I think what you're doing is very important for organizing and planning on that, but also from someone that I would consider being up there on the higher level of live streaming on Periscope and different channels. Someone that would be a great resource to ask questions to. So for anyone in the Snappack, how do they reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you? How do they find you?
My handle on Periscope, Twitter is Lance Whipple RE, at Lance Whipple RE. I'm in Snappack, so you should be able to find me. Just put in Lance. There's not a lot of Lances. Whipple, definitely there's not a lot of Whipples out there. And if you break the ice with me with don't squeeze the Charmin, then you're just showing your age. I'll just head that one off at the path. My dad goes by that on his handle, Mr. Whipple.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's probably the best way. Facebook, search on Lance Whipple, you'll find me. Search on Google, you'll find me. There's some fake Army Lance Whipple out there. Just keep going down on Google, and then you'll find all my realtor stuff too. So
nice. So before we go, anything else you'd like to add?
No, just thank you so much for inviting me to do this. As you can tell, I'm a systems guy, and I dig this part of the business. And so it's something that I feel like, I have something to say and I can help some people, and that's really cool. And then I can get inspired by the people like you who just do it naturally, and I can try to mimic you, out there in the land. And then, over time we'll all, the rising tide, us that are the first movers on there, that's the way I see it right now. And so thank you so much for including me. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, and thank you for everything that you said. But Lance, he brought up a final point there that is very important, and we kind of touched on a little bit, is that's being a first mover. So actually had a conversation today at lunch with some of the people here, and one of the guys there, Cliff, he was in commercial, and none of his people are on social media. None of them are doing live streaming, Snapchat, anything. So he could be first. He has a chance to grab audience. He has a chance to grab attention. It's hard to do that now on social media channels, but in real estate, it's, there's a very great opportunity for you on Snapchat. There's a great opportunity on Periscope and Live and Facebook Live and all these other first mover type channels that aren't saturated by people in our industry. So it's a very important point. And again, Lance, thank you so much for taking time and joining us. And Snappack, thank you for joining us today on episode 2. And thanks for taking time out of your day here on a Thursday to join us. We'll be doing another episode with actually some rock star people next week, and I hope that everyone has a great remainder of their week. I'll be flying out of Miami on a red eye tonight, and I look forward to connecting with all of you. And Lance, make sure you share all your stuff and the Real Estate Live Now group link so they can be a part of that. It's a great group. We're kindred spirits between the two groups.
Yes.
It's awesome. And honestly, without that, I probably wouldn't have met Lance and everything else. So it's just great, great to have the two groups come together and do something cool like this.
Yep. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.